Hi there, I'm Ben from the Merrimack Public Library, and this is If You Know, You Know Kitchen Survival. Today, to celebrate the end of our summer reading program, I'm going to show you how to make something fast, easy, and totally delicious chocolate mug cake. So let's get right to it. So the great thing about making a mug cake is this is pretty much all the cookware you need. You've got some measuring spoons, a mug, and then in the background over here on my shoulder I've got a microwave. You're going to want to make sure your mug is microwave safe. It should say if it is on the bottom right there. And we can get started. So the first thing we need is 4 tablespoons or a quarter cup of all-purpose flour. And when you're measuring dry ingredients, it can be helpful just to take more than you need and then even it out. I've got the back of a steak knife here for that because it's nice and flat. But you can use anything that's pretty straight will do. That's 2. 3. And 4. Alright, and next we're going to want 2 tablespoons of sugar. Just plain granulated sugar is fine. It would change the taste a little if you used brown sugar, but you could definitely do that. And if your sugar is pumping, just sort of give it a good shake. 1. And this is one of those, 2. And 2 tablespoons of unsweetened cocoa powder. Now, this is what's called Dutch processed cocoa powder. But there's also natural cocoa powder. Either way, they're both unsweetened and they should both work the same here. The difference between the two is a little technical. And then we want a 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder. Now, if you've ever wondered about the difference between baking powder and baking soda, baking soda will is basically, in the short version is baking soda is stronger, but you need an acid in your mixture to activate it. Baking powder has cream of tartar in it, which acts as an acid. So it just needs liquids and it'll give you lift, and that's what either of those is for. They make things puff up. So we've got our ingredients. All of our dry ingredients are together here. We're gonna whisk this up until it is, if you've got a proper whisk, you can do this. You can do this in a bowl too. If you're ever looking to make more than 1 mug of this, you could also mix up a bigger batch and portion it out into mugs. And we can move on to adding our wet ingredients. But before we add any wet ingredients, I forgot. We want just a teeny bit of salt, like 1/8 of a teaspoon. I'm just gonna put a little salt into this 1/4 teaspoon. The goal isn't to make this taste salty, but salt helps other flavors to stand out more. So that's really the reason why it's in a lot of even in sweet baking recipes. Alright, so we're going to add our wet ingredients now. So we want a 1/4 cup plus 1 tablespoon of milk, which would also be the same as 5 tablespoons. I'm going to go ahead and use my liquid measure just to make this a little easier. Alright, that's a 1/4 cup. An extra tablespoon. And then I need 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil, something neutral like corn oil, canola oil. Would work for this pretty well. That's one. And two. And we're going to mix this together until we have no big clumps left. So we use this fork, it'll whisk, or better approximate like a whisk. You guys can see I've still got some dry stuff hanging out on top. Just going to keep at it for a minute here and try to incorporate liquids into all of our dries. And you know, it might be a little easier to mix this together in a bowl, but on the other hand, this is a one-dish recipe if you do everything in your mug. Alright, so that's looking pretty smooth now. Okay. And lastly, we're going to mix in a tablespoon's worth of mini chocolate chips. They don't have to be minis. These are just going to make it a little, we're going to add some melted chocolate to our final mix here. And the small ones will melt a little bit better. If you like, you could do an equal amount of like a chocolate hazelnut spread, like Nutella. If you wanted more of a chocolate peanut butter thing, you could go peanut butter instead. That would be pretty good. So I'm just going to sprinkle those in, mix them, and we're all set to bake. Alright, so here I've got my microwave, and I'm going to start by just throwing down a paper towel in here, just in case there's any spillover. And we've got our mug cake, we're going to throw that in, and we're going to microwave this on high for 70 seconds. Now this is going to be subject to how powerful your microwave is, so you want to keep an eye on it, make sure it's not getting like super overdone, and also you're going to want to pay close attention to it when it comes out to make sure it's done all the way through. I can see that that is puffing up the sides here. Hopefully not going to overflow. Nope, it looks like we're just about perfect. Alright, now this mug's very likely going to be hot when you pull it out of there, so you're going to want to grab an oven mitts. And be careful when you pull it out. Looks pretty good though. I'm going to stick a toothpick in here and see if it emerges clean. And it's only got like a crumb or two stuck to it. That's what you want to see to indicate that your cake is done. And now we have to let this sit for a good couple minutes to cool off before digging in. So it's been a couple minutes. Our mug and our cake have cooled off. And if you really want to amp this up, you can throw a dollop of ice cream in there. So let's crack this guy open and see how we did. Oh yeah, that's going to be good. So that's all there is to making a great mug cake. I hope you guys try this one out. It's like super rich and chocolatey. It's actually like a really good cake, and it only took like 10 minutes to make. And there's lots of different variations you could try. I think I said you could throw some peanut butter in there. You could skip the chocolate cocoa powder, use some vanilla extract, and keep the chocolate chips and make sort of like a chocolate cookie type thing. All kinds of things. So if you guys would like to see any other variations, feel free to leave a comment down below and I'll try to get to them. Also, if you're watching this when it comes out, this coming week is the end of the Merrimack Library Summer Reading Program, and so we've got our farewell concert on the 13th, Wednesday, at Abbey Griffin Park. We've got musician Steve Blunt coming. That's going to be awesome, and we'll hope to see you guys there. And on Friday, the 14th, we're going to have our teen end of summer program, the Murder Mystery Party, where we'll do a telecall and we'll all play different characters in a murder mystery. So hope to see you guys at some of those. And yeah, until next time, I've been Mr. Ben from the Merrimack Public Library. See ya.